Hey, what's up? So today I want to talk about how to stop worrying about money. And more specifically, I want to talk about this journey I've been going on for the last several months where I'm trying to transition my mindset from a scarcity mindset into abundance mindset. And I'm trying to do this in all factors of life, but especially with money, right? So I'll talk a little bit about why I started on this journey, what I've been doing, and how I feel like it's helped me and how I feel like it's changed my life a little bit. Um, and I do just want to start off by saying, like, or disclaimers, like, I understand that everyone's financial situation is a little bit different. And one could argue that it's a little bit easier to do this if you have more money, right? But I also want to argue that I think at every level, you'll probably notice as you start to make more money, you start to realize money is never enough, right? There's always someone with more money than you. There's always more things you can buy. You're always going to be constrained on your budget for whatever reason, right? So money's not really ever enough until you decide it's enough. So yeah, at one hand, I do understand like, hey, money is a factor, but on the other hand, a lot of this is kind of a mental thing as well. So I hope that makes sense. So just this journey I've been going on for the last 6 or 7 months. I actually made a video on this in more detail, but I'll kind of give you the cliff notes right now. But basically, what happened to me was, maybe like 6, 7 months ago, my co-founders and I got this offer to sell our company, and we had a really. This is basically the goal that I've been going for the last 8, 9, 10 years, right? And you would expect that I would be really happy to achieve this goal, but what ended up happening was when we got that offer, which was good, I ended up realizing, oh, the amount of money that I would get personally wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be. I mean, it wasn't off by that much, but it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And I started getting really nitpicky, and I was kind of unhappy with what I was going to get, even though it was pretty much what I wanted, right? And then I had this thought in my mind for the last 10 years, like, this is what I was going to feel like when I got this money. And even though I didn't get it yet, but I thought I was going to get it, I didn't feel that feeling. I didn't feel elated. I felt like more dead inside, right? I didn't feel dead. I just felt like nothing, right? It was like, okay, cool. Um, Anyways, long story short, I kind of got over that, and I started realizing, okay, this is actually good. Like, I want to do this. And then for the next like 2 or 3 weeks, I was like really scared. We were gonna lose this deal. Like, oh, what happens if they pull out? Whatever. Then they weren't gonna get anything. Blah 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 blah. And then it was like so I went from like, hey, not that happy with it to really wanting it. And then basically I realized, like, okay, why do I have such a scarcity mindset? It doesn't matter if this deal gets lost. There's always be another one. We can grow bigger, get a better deal. But I wasn't really thinking about those things. So I realized I had a really scarcity mindset. I also realized I was living for something that in the future that I shouldn't be doing. So I made another video on this in more detail, but that's basically what started me on this journey. So I decided that I really wanted to change my mindset from a scarcity mindset to abundance mindset. And how I started doing that was two things, right? One thing was basically, instead of thinking about I want this or these are my goals, I want to achieve these goals, I started thinking more about, okay, I'm very lucky to have what I have, right? I feel very grateful for what I have. And anytime I had a spare minute, I would just think, wow, I'm so happy. I'm so lucky. I'm very grateful for the things that I have. And slowly, where my default thought process was like, oh man, I wish this thing would go up in price so I would have more money. I wish this would happen in the future. I just started replacing those thoughts with, you know, hey, like I'm very lucky, right? And what that kind of did was slowly over time, I started changing my natural thought habits. It took a while, right? And it's still something I work on. There are obviously times of the day where I'm like, oh, I wish Tesla stock would go to $1 million or whatever, and I'll be rich or whatever, right? I still think that all the time, but I'm slowly changing my habits of thinking, and I would just feel more at peace all the time, right? When you're always wishing something will happen in the future, I think there's a feeling of anxiety or something like that. And if you're just like doing that in a little bit at a time throughout the day, you're just a little bit off. What I would also do, and this helped a lot, was instead of wishing something would happen in the future, I would imagine what my life will be like in the near future, right? I know that I'm going to be super successful in this, and this, and I would think about that, okay? And then I would imagine what would it feel like to have these things, right? So it's not so much like I wanted it; it's more like I'm feeling, I'm feeling the feeling of having it, and those feelings are mostly like, oh, I'm grateful, I feel so lucky, oh, I'm so proud of myself, I worked so hard to get these things. I'm just feeling that feeling, and I'm just holding that feeling in for as long as I can. And then, so whenever I have a spare minute, I'm just like refeeling those feelings. And then over time, you just start to feel a lot more calm, right? And then when, in the past, let's say, for example, if I spend a bunch of money, or I go to Vegas, I lose like, a lot of money. In the past, I'd be like, oh, fuck, why did I do that? And now I'm like, okay, you know what? I feel lucky that I have the ability to do that, right? And I feel very lucky I had the ability to do that, and that was fun. So it's just like a really tiny mindset shift that you just do throughout the time, throughout the day, throughout the week, anytime you can. And you just constantly remind yourself. And you're basically replacing your thoughts of want to thoughts of abundance, right? And people say like, "Oh, this will bring more money to you," or whatever. I mean, I don't know if I've experienced that, but what I have experienced is I've experienced a lot more calmness, and I would say actually happiness, and just like less stress and anxiety. So anything that happens, like, oh, we went on a trip, we just like balled out or whatever. Hey, not a big deal because it's gonna be fine, right? There's no worrying about it. It's like, oh man, that puts us a month back on spending or whatever like that, or saving or whatever. Like sometimes I would have those thoughts in the past, but I'm just like, hey, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna make a bunch of money in the future. It's not a big deal. Another example I'll give you is I made a video on this previously as well, but in my 20s, I had made like $640,000 in crypto, and I subsequently lost it. And after losing it, I basically regretted it for like 4 years straight, where I thought about it every day for like 4 years. And you can imagine the amount of stress I was putting on myself. And I think I actually developed like a I think I developed like arthritis, uh, psoriatic arthritis from it because like just like the stress I was putting my body through. And obviously that's not good, right? But I couldn't get over it for like 4 years, and eventually I got over it. But recently, I mean, I've gone on much bigger swings on the downside, ever since kind of Trump took office or whatever, and I'm fine. Like I didn't even really feel it. I mean, maybe the situation's different. Maybe I have more experience. Maybe I actually am more confident that it's going to come back or whatever. And obviously it has a little bit, but I guess my point is like I didn't stress about it. I didn't worry about it. Stressing and worrying about it wouldn't have really done anything. And yeah, and I felt completely fine. So it I would argue losing that $640,000 was probably not as bad as the mental stress and even physical stress I put myself through for those 4 years. And that's probably worse. The opportunity cost on that is probably even worse than losing the money. So maybe now I have a little bit more experience or whatever, or maybe it's just the mindset. I would like to say it's the mindset shift I've been going through where I ain't even tripping about it, right? And because of that, like, yeah, obviously I think it's gonna come back. It's not a big deal. It's not. It's just they're just paper losses. But at the same time, it didn't really cost me any sort of mental strain, any anguish. It didn't cost me any stress. In fact, it was actually more of an opportunity because I was able to buy more at the bottom or whatever. But anyways, that's another example where I think like just having that, maybe that's where the having that abundance mindset lets you allows you to see opportunities versus worrying about losing stuff, right? So I do think this will carry over. I maybe haven't. I don't know if I want you to share like whether or not I've gained financially from this experience, but I will share I've gained a lot of like happiness or calmness and just like more chillness, right? And less anxiety and stress from this experience. So it is a work in progress. Obviously, you can keep getting better and better and keep working on it. Is this something that you do? Just remind yourself every day, like, hey, this is the way I want to feel now. What does this feeling feel like? Try to remember that feeling and try to feel that feeling throughout the day. And that's how you change yourself. That's how you change from within. And that's really how you stop worrying about money. So, hope this video helps. I would encourage you to try it and just start really small. And just start kind of understanding, hey, what do I think about all the time, and what will I like to replace that with, and just start feeling those feelings. So, yeah, hope this helps. See you next video. Thanks.